It was supposed to be a quiet walk to my daughter's grave on the second anniversary of her death. Carrying nothing but sunflowers and her beloved teddy bear until a patrol car screeched to a halt beside me, and a furious officer tore that bear in half, spat on the pieces, and told me my little girl was better off dead. That moment reignited my grief and set off a chain of events far bigger than one broken toy. An unlikely ally haunted by his own loss, a fight to expose corruption at the highest levels, and a battle for justice that would force a department built on the blue wall to reckon with the cost of protecting its own. He tore my dead daughter's teddy bear in half, spat on it, and said, "Your little girl's better off dead than having a criminal for a daddy." When I begged him to stop grinding her sunflowers into the pavement, he twisted my shoulder until it popped and said, "You people only understand pain." I didn't say a word. That was 3 months ago. This morning he was dragged out of his squad car crying, with a camera crew watching. A police officer approached me, hand on his hip, because I was walking with a dangerous and sharp object, which was actually just my daughter's old teddy bear. "Mr. Hoppy, it's spring, sticking out." When I gave it to him so he could examine it, he spat on it and threw it to the ground, then dislocated my shoulder while cuffing me, claiming my daughter was better off without a father of my kind. I lost my daughter 2 years ago. I started working at a children's hospital just to help kids end up not like her. I was walking to her grave after my shift, on her 2-year anniversary, carrying Mr. Hoppy, her favorite teddy bear, when this patrol car screeched to a halt beside me. The officer jumped out, locked eyes with me, and immediately put his hand on his weapon. "Get on the pavement now. You're under arrest," he screamed. I slowly raised my hands, still holding the sunflowers and the bunny. I identified myself, told him where I lived and where I was heading, and asked what I was being arrested for. But before I was even done talking, he yelled, "Stop resisting." I hadn't even moved a muscle. "You fit the description of an armed robbery suspect. Why are you in this neighborhood?" He completely ignored that I lived there. "That bunny could be concealing a weapon," he said, patting me down aggressively. "You people always have excuses." That's when everything went to hell. He slammed me face first onto the cement wall beside us. My lips split open on impact. He ripped Mr. Hoppy from my hands and started manhandling it. "Aha, I see it," he yelled, referring to the spring protruding from its behind. "Knowing you people, there's a weapon in here." He grabbed the bunny with both hands and tore it clean in half. My heart literally broke, watching the stuffing spill onto the pavement. He searched the ground for a weapon, of course. He didn't find one, but this seemed to infuriate him even more. He looked me up and down, muttering about con artists, and then noticed the memorial tattoo on my forearm. My daughter's full name, her birth and death dates, surrounded by little angels and hearts. He scoffed, "Your little one's really dead. I took you for the lying type." I stayed silent. Little girl's better off dead than having a criminal for a daddy anyway. I remember fighting back tears as he stepped on Mr. Hoppy's remains. But he wasn't done. He yanked my wallet out, pocketed $150 in cash, and when he saw a photo of my wife, factually smirked. "Huh, your daughter was a mutt. Unbelievable. Maybe I'll stop by and console your wife while you're locked up. Make her realize she should have married within her race." He ground the sunflower petals under his boot, while twisting my arms behind my back. "Please, that's all I have left of her," I thought, choking on grief. I almost cried watching him step on the remains of Mr. Hoppy. The officer called for backup over his radio, Unit 17, requesting immediate backup. One black male suspect, extremely combative, attempted assault on an officer. But then, something happened. The passenger door of the patrol car flew open, and another officer stepped out, massive, maybe 6'5" and 250 pounds, with combat scars across his face. I genuinely thought this was it for me, until I heard him bellow, "Officer Drewsworth, stand down immediately." His voice boomed so loudly, I swear a dog started barking 3 houses down. He yanked Drewsworth's hand back, forcing him to let go of me. I grabbed my shoulder in pain, in disbelief that a cop was actually helping me. Drewsworth's face went from cocky to confused. "You don't understand, Sarge, this guy," he started. The senior officer cut him off. "I saw what you did. You assaulted a grieving father on his daughter's anniversary. Release him now." Drewsworth tried to shove past his superior, but the senior officer wouldn't budge. "You're resisting a superior officer, hands behind your back." Drewsworth fumed. "My dad owns this department. He'll get you for this." His superior didn't flinch. He hauled Drewsworth back to the patrol car by force, socking him twice in the jaw and slammed the door. Then he came back to me, got down on one knee, and carefully collected every piece of the stuffed bunny. "Sir, I am deeply sorry. This is inexcusable. You will be compensated, and Drewsworth will pay for this." His voice cracked when he added, "I lost my daughter, too. What this slimy bastard did makes me ashamed to be a cop." He looked me dead in the eye, and I knew he meant it. "If you have to, will you help me?" I said yes, without hesitation, but I had no idea what I was getting myself into. The next morning, my shoulder throbbing, I stared at his personal number, scrawled on a crumpled piece of paper. My wife had already left for her hospital shift, leaving a note reminding me to ice my shoulder. I couldn't stop thinking about what Williams meant by "help me." Finally, I dialed the number. He asked me to meet him at a diner on the edge of town, away from the precinct. When I arrived, he was hunched over a cup of coffee in a corner booth. His massive frame barely fit in the seat. He slid a folder across the table. Photos. Incident reports, one name recurring. Officer Drewsworth. My stomach turned as I flipped through page after page. At least 7 other incidents over the past 3 years. Black men, Latino men, even white men who didn't look right. All stopped. For bogus reasons, roughed up, and had their complaints vanish. Williams explained that Drewsworth's father practically ran the department. Any officer who spoke up found themselves on the worst shifts, passed over for promotion, or suddenly under investigation for petty infractions. Williams himself had received 3 calls that morning warning him to drop it. I asked what he needed from me. He leaned forward. With my testimony and my medical records, plus his witness account, they might finally have enough to go to internal affairs. But it would mean going up against the entire Drewsworth machine. He warned of threats. Job retaliation maybe, even losing my position at the hospital. I thought about Mr. Hoppy now, in pieces in a plastic bag on my kitchen counter. I thought about my daughter's grave I hadn't been yesterday. I thought about every other father who might walk that street and meet Officer Drewsworth. I told Williams I was in. We spent the next hour combing through the evidence he'd secretly documented for months, knowing the originals at the station would disappear as we left. My phone buzzed. An unknown number sent a photo of my wife entering her hospital. The message read, "Beautiful woman. Would be a shame if something happened on her walk to the car tonight." My blood ran cold. Williams read it over my shoulder, jaw clenched. He called her immediately and warned her to stay inside. Then, he drove me home. On the way, he told me about his daughter, killed by a drunk driver whose wealthy father got him off with community service. "That's when I knew the system was broken," he said. "But I stayed because I thought I could make a difference." We picked up my wife together. She was pale with fear. Williams arranged for a patrol car to drive by our house every hour, but even that felt like it might not be enough. That night, I barely slept. Every car that passed, every dog that barked, had me jumping to the window. Around 3 a.m., I heard footsteps on our porch. I grabbed the baseball bat we kept by the bed and crept to the door. Through the peephole, I saw Drewsworth out of uniform, spray painting something on our door. My heart hammered. I stayed kneeling by my daughter's headstone for her 2-year anniversary, but this time I was ready. I confronted him through the peephole. He sneered, "You should have kept your mouth shut. My daddy owns this town." He threatened me more explicitly. And I started recording. He lunged for my phone, but I backed away. I captured everything. His license plate, the racial slur he painted on our door. I sent the video to Williams and made backups. The next day, Williams came by with 2 trusted officers. They took photos of the graffiti and my statement. But Drewsworth Sr. watched from the parking lot like a vulture. The IA interview was grueling. They questioned why I was walking alone at night, why I had the teddy bear, whether I had provoked Drewsworth. After 3 hours, Detective Chen said she'd review everything. As we left, Drewsworth Sr. still stood there, eyes cold. That evening, Williams called with bad news. He'd been suspended pending an investigation for assaulting Drewsworth. Our first move to discredit him. The next day at work, I was put on administrative leave after an anonymous complaint of stealing medication. My locker was searched, my car was searched. My wife started getting hang-up calls. Our tires were slashed and dead flowers appeared on our doorstep with notes. "For your daughter." They were systematic, but we also found allies. A young officer, Martinez, came forward about planted evidence. A dispatcher, Janet, secretly saved recordings of Drewsworth's racist radio chatter. We filed our IA complaint with 12 other victims, though most were terrified and backed out after threats. 3 years ago, a black man died in custody under suspicious circumstances. Williams discovered the original autopsy report contradicted the official story, replaced by a doctored version. With this, plus body cam footage Janet had hidden, we had the breakthrough we needed, but it put us in even more danger. Williams arranged for my wife and me to stay with his sister, Catherine, outside town. She took one look at my shoulder and insisted on fixing it herself. Meanwhile, Williams made calls to officers outside the department. A state police detective, Nathan Catt, agreed to meet. We packed everything, including Mr. Hoppy's remains. That night, Drewsworth Sr.'s muscle civilians in cars surrounded Catherine's house. Williams called 911, but they wouldn't send help unless something happened. We spent the night on watch until dawn, when the cars finally left. Over breakfast, we decided to file the complaint with the state police. The next morning, Williams and I drove 2 hours to headquarters. Tension high. In a glass and steel conference room, Detective Catt listened to us for 3 hours, promising to dig deep. On the return trip, Martinez was arrested on bogus substance charges, retaliation for speaking up. We diverted to Williams's house to retrieve hidden evidence. It had been ransacked, but the false panel behind the fridge still held our backup copies. Drewsworth Sr. and 2 off-duty officers showed up, but Williams and I slipped out the back. Back at Catherine's, state police arrived to protect us. We handed over the gravesite footage, the dispatcher's recordings, and everything. We had forensics confirmed time-stamp tampering. State detectives mobilized a full investigation. Drewsworth and his father's grip on the department started to crack. Then my hospital fired me without appeal. The board claimed the ongoing investigation made me unfit. My career evaporated for standing up to corruption, but with state police on our side, more officers came forward. Hotels, restaurants, and even a shop owner whose footage contradicted the official aliasing of a young man's death lent evidence. We shipped copies to secure locations and prepped for legal action. Detective Catt's team arrested Officer Drewsworth on assault, civil rights violations, and tampering charges. Drewsworth Sr. tried to intervene, but the state police wouldn't be cowed. His empire of impunity crumbled as more arrests followed, cover-ups, deleted records, collusion at every level. Williams was reinstated and promoted to sergeant. He asked me to join the civilian oversight committee he helped form. The civil rights attorney filed my wrongful termination suit. The hospital settled and reinstated me. I waived the money. Together, my wife and I visited our daughter's grave. The chip in her headstone had been professionally repaired by an anonymous donor, probably Williams. I placed fresh sunflowers and a new, small stuffed rabbit, no replacement for Mr. Hoppy, but a symbol of renewed hope. Williams brought his own flowers and stood silently beside us. Bearing the weight of memory and justice, we know the months ahead will bring trials and testimony. The system won't change overnight. But standing by my daughter's grave, I felt something I hadn't in a long time: hope.